Welcome to Gear Talk. So today I'm not talking about guitars, instead I'm talking about cameras. So on this episode I'm going to be comparing my very trusty, built-in, and maybe a little bit bland MacBook Pro webcam against this. This is the, what is this? The Logitech 4K Pro webcam. So this promises 4K. My current MacBook records in 1080p. So simply enough, all I'm going to do is plug in my Logitech and see if the quality improves. I am actually using Final Cut Pro to record this, so it should be a pretty simple one-to-one comparison. So let's take a look. All right, so after a little bit of wrangling, I realized that I could not directly record the Logitech into Final Cut Pro, so I had to launch QuickTime and create a movie that way. Not a big deal, but it definitely does change my workflow a little bit. That being said, what do you think? Is the color different? Yeah, probably could be used to tweak a little bit, but most of the time you're not going to be seeing a side-by-side comparison. How about the sharpness? I do think that the Logitech does look a little bit better. Obviously, it's hard to tell because I'm recording myself right now, so I'm not seeing them side-by-side in the editor. But that being said, do you think the Logitech is worth the $199, although I did get it on sale for $150, so that was a little bit of a better price. But do you think the Logitech is worth it? So one other option that I've not really explored, but I know can be done, is by using your iPhone or your Android device as an external webcam using an app called Camo. It is, I think, $70 or so for a lifetime license, which is, of course, cheaper than the Logitech. But there are some downsides. Of course, a phone is much larger. You have to turn it backwards and make sure it's charged. So there are some things about using the phone that's not necessarily the greatest, but maybe another option for you if you don't want to spend the money and you don't think that your FaceTime camera is good enough. Now, I'm fortunate. I'm recording on a new Mac, so it does have a 1080p FaceTime camera. Anything prior to this, the FaceTime camera was only 720p, so it was really low resolution and not really very well suited to doing this kind of work. In the past, I've actually used a DSLR or a mirrorless camera as my webcam, but that's like a $1,000 solution, and I know that's not something that most people can afford. Furthermore, it really was uncomfortable to have to set it up every single time. It made making videos a much bigger challenge. So I really like the idea of being able to just turn on the computer and go on with my video without having to spend a lot of effort and extra time tweaking and setting it up and using an external camera that costs a lot of money. It's not really built for it. This Logitech is made to be used as a streaming device. So hopefully this is going to be a big improvement in the quality, but we'll see when I get back to the timeline. All right, so one other test I didn't think about until just now, but for all of my recordings, I tend to use this. This is just a Rode video mic connected directly into my MacBook. Super easy setup. It's on a Platypod, which is a camera device or camera accessory, but it works really well as a mic holder. It just basically sits on the desk, and then I have a little ball head attached to the mic, and it points at my face and it sits out of the screen so you can't see it. But I am actually recording right now using the Logitech mic. So let's see what that sounds like. And I'm also going to go back into the FaceTime as my last clip to compare it to using just bare MacBook Pro, no external mics, no external webcams, to see if someone starting out without having any camera or audio experience can get a decent product by using just the MacBook that they have. Okay, so I am back in Final Cut Pro again, and I'm actually using just the built-in webcam and the built-in microphone to see what it sounds like. Is it noticeably better? Is it noticeably worse? I think after seeing both cameras side by side, I prefer the video coloring of the FaceTime camera. But of course, all that can be tweaked in post-production, but I'm not going to just for the sake of fair comparison. All right. Okay, so I am back on the Logitech and I'm using the external microphone that I showed you as my mic input. I'm finding that the Logitech video is noticeably sharper. Of course, it's a 4K camera versus a 1080 camera, so it should be sharper. However, I am preferring the colors that the built-in webcam is giving me. Now, again, I can tweak all of that in settings once I'm in Final Cut Pro, but if you're just starting out, this is kind of, it does look a little more of a washed out color tone, a little blue. I definitely look a little bit more washed out than I prefer versus the other built-in camera. But that also being said, I do think that both of them would be certainly usable for someone who's just starting out. The bigger difference I noticed right away was the microphone quality, the audio quality. So the Logitech, it did a decent job. If I were zooming with somebody, I'm sure it would be fine, but definitely tinny. The built-in MacBook audio actually sounded better. However, there was a little bit of a boominess to it. Now that's probably due to the acoustics in this room. It is basically just a bedroom that I've taken over and turned into my office / guitar studio. So the audio acoustics in this room are not great. If I put some stuff up on the walls other than guitars, it probably would do a little bit better. But I think bottom line, if you're just starting out and you have a new MacBook, now a new MacBook meaning an M1 MacBook, so the last 2 years, you can start out on YouTube pretty much right out of the gate without having to buy anything else. And so that to me is a pretty big statement because prior to that, in all my previous MacBooks, the webcam quality was atrocious. The speaker microphone quality built in was pretty bad. So anytime I was doing video, I was always using external things. But Mac has brought us, Apple has brought us to the point where you can kind of without extra technology, with the exception of I'm using a little stand to bring my laptop up higher so that you're not looking at my nose, which is super unflattering. For all of you pandemic survivors, you remember your Zoom calls right at the beginning of the pandemic when everyone was staring up everyone else's noses. So bringing the laptop up a little bit closer to eye level certainly is a little more flattering. One other thing I do notice, and I can see it happening now, and I'm just going to do this with a guitar pick, but the Logitech has autofocus, and I don't know what the close focusing ability is, but that might make a difference. Let's see here. Oh, see, that does help if I'm showing a product demonstration. So these are things that are certainly important. Now, I did notice if you watch my last video, the built-in webcam can also close focus, so that's nice. I do notice that the Logitech sometimes appears to drift a little bit. It's not the world's greatest autofocus. It's pretty good, and I'm not moving around a whole lot, so I think it would be fine. But just things to be thinking about, and you can, again, tweak all those settings and turn off the autofocus and do all the things that you might want to do. But these are all things to be cognizant of when you're making a decision. For me, I think it is quite a bit of an improvement video quality wise, and I don't mind spending a little bit of extra time building a profile in Final Cut to make my video look a little bit warmer and a little more lifelike as far as the colors are concerned. I'm going to continue sticking with an external microphone, so like the video creator that I am, things get a little more complicated, but with that comes a little bit better quality. So if you found this video helpful, I would greatly appreciate it if you would like this video, like the channel, subscribe, ring the bell to get notified when I create new content. Share this with your friends, share it with folks that might need a little bit of advice. This channel is going to cover all types of gear, not just guitars, not just webcams. Stay tuned for some audio gear that I'll be reviewing, lots of different things that are going to be coming down the pipeline. And I'd hate for you to miss it out, so if you would, go ahead and ring that bell so that you're notified. And of course, as always, please comment down below. Those comments really are the lifeblood of this channel. I love hearing what folks have to say, even if it's criticism. I like to hear interaction. This is supposed to be a two-way conversation. Yeah, I'm the guy on screen, but I want to hear from you too. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.